Hey everyone, Lex here with Alamo City Movie Talk, getting back to you with another reaction slash review of particularly a movie that's kind of starting off the year here in January. Welcome to 2026, everyone. But the movie that this is actually the first screener that I got for this year. I think the team might have gotten some other ones. Of course, award season is getting very, very close to us. But Greenland 2 Migration just came out, or it's dropping this weekend. And essentially, it's a direct follow-up to Greenland 1 with, or just called Greenland, I guess, with most of the cast returning. What I mean by that is, as far as like the characters go, we do have Gerald Butler back, Morena Baccarin as his wife, but the son did get recast, probably just because there was a big time skip and whatnot, and that's played by Roman Griffin. And we have a new cast of other members and survivors for this apocalyptic cataclysmic movie. So let's get started, guys, with our review. Greenland 2 Migration did something, I don't want to say unique, I don't think they're the first to do, but typically with these disaster movies, you find that the aftermath is not always explored. Like I could think of, one of the big movies of our generation is 2012, because of all the mysticism around like the end of the world and the Mayan calendar ending and things like that. But that's an example of like a movie that, you experience an extinction level event. But there isn't always a, aftermath that is explored with these type of movies. It usually ends on an ambiguous note, and with Greenland, this is spoiler free by the way, but I will talk about Greenland, the first movie. It does end with an optimistic kind of approach, but it very much shows that the world is never going to be the same. This giant comet hit, and or asteroid I should say, and no, actually it was a comet. They've covered this in the movie. But the destruction level was just insane. And you would think like, okay, the movie doesn't have to continue. Like we know at least the main cast survived and things like that. But no, they wanted to explore a little bit of what happens afterwards. How does the world rebuild? There's still a threat in this movie. I won't spoil too much of that, but just, when the Earth gets this event happen to itself, it shapes a lot of things. It changes currents, it changes environments. The people that remain have to survive, and sometimes that explores the darker twists of humanity. And yeah, this movie was actually, the first one surprised me in the sense that I felt like it could easily be a generic, extinction level movie. But the cast was great. Visual effects were okay at times, good in others. But it's a movie that was still centered around this concept of family and survival, and what you have to do to kind of rally together in these type of events. And this movie continues that same theme, but it's about, the bigger threat now is like, how do we rebuild? What do we do now, right? And there's a big emphasis on the migration part, once again, spoiler free, as far as like what this family needs to do and who they meet along the way. And I felt like this was a strong sequel as well. Like a lot of the themes that made the first movie strong remained, and it stays fresh. There's still a lot of common themes. One of the problems that I did have with the first movie that I did find slightly on this one as well is that there were some things, particularly like people helping out each other, which I love, by the way, but in the context of this world and the survival and the primal urge of humans to survive, like I feel like some things were a little too convenient. Like they got helped a lot. Like it goes through like different settings, and in each one of those places there happens to be someone that's conveniently there and that is willing to help them. It's like, hey, I trust you, and blah, blah, blah. Here are some resources, or here's where you should go next. And that just happened too much between the first and the second movie. It does get balanced out by a shitty event or like shitty people coming along. So it's kind of like a 50-50 situation, but it did feel a little repetitive in that regard. Other than that, that's about my only negative of the movie. This movie had, I think, stronger emotional beats. Once again, the cast was still great. And it's simple. It's straight to the point as far as like what's the mission, what you need to do. That's discovered very early in the movie. And yeah, it's a solid start to the new year, I think, for these type of movies. Usually January tends to be a little bit of a weird month because there could be some duds in there. But I think if you enjoyed the first Greenland, I think you're really going to like Greenland 2 Migration. This seems to be what Gerald Butler is doing at the moment, and it's working for him. He does good. He doesn't necessarily have to be this like big action star. It's more of like just a father determined to, help save his family or help get this person to this place and things like that. So yeah, he absolutely kills it. It's a fun time, guys. I recommend to watch it at the movie theaters. The effects are better. I think they got a bigger budget here. And it was directed by Rick Roman. And yeah, I'm excited to see what they do next. Not necessarily with this franchise per se, but like whatever they do next with Gerald Butler. He's worked with this director multiple times. I'm sure they have another project brewing. Thank you so much, guys. Like, share, subscribe. As always, this was Lex with Alamo City Movie Talk, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.